Welcome back to Jadwin Gym. As you see the team score through one session, and okay, well, Cornell's in last, but we really haven't seen hardly any of them yet so far. So we have it on our side. There might have been one or two at Matt too, but the reason why you see these scores different is obviously bonus points that may be earned in victories. As Ty Whalen had a tech fall, major decision by Eli Rivera. Some of the key results as you see. Our action resuming semifinal round at 125, and the winner of these two semifinals will be going to Philadelphia, and we will have the Marc Anthony McGowan and Sulayman Bah match here on Mat 1. As we thank you for sticking with us here for the action. And, well, Pat, Marc Anthony McGowan, he is a special young man, the freshman who is currently ranked by the coaches at 24th, but he has certainly got the talent to get All-America and more.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him wrestle, and he's someone who comes out quick and likes to score a lot of points. And, he came off firing already through, early in this first period. We'll see if he's able to, capitalize on it and create a, score, come up to a first period lead.
Sulayman Bah coming off a 4-1 sudden victory against Marcello Milani. Now, that was the first match of this whole tournament, and then we had what essentially ended up being about a 35-minute break after the heavyweight matches wrapped up in the first round. So while that is momentum for Bah, he kind of had to sit on that momentum for about an hour or so, maybe even more. And so maybe that momentum not quite as much as you would think in other situations from first round to semis.
Yeah, and it's underrated the amount of times you wrestle in a day. There's very minimal times where you wrestle more than twice in one day. So it's like, these matches are, these days where it's a one-day tournament are tough. Especially when you have to, get yourself back up for another match, right? And, what the coaches will probably, tell them is, get off your feet, maybe get a quick power nap, throw some headphones in, let your body try to recoup and recover as much as you possibly can. And 30 minutes out, you're basically doing the same exact warm-up you did for your first match, and just keep your routine the same. And, obviously I think in a lot of ways it's good to get a first match, but, McGowan, I'm sure, is excited to come out here and be able to scrap.
Good chance to get a meditation in, or if you're a broadcaster, get your lunch in for the beginning of this semifinal round. No score. So Marc Anthony McGowan 13-2 in his freshman campaign, who are really coming in highly applauded to Princeton. He was a peak rank, 11th ranked wrestler nationally according to Flow Wrestling. Went perfect in his duels, 7-0, and had 5 tech falls. And he really ramped it up, just going at that motor immediately, but so far we haven't seen a score through 2 minutes, and that's a very interesting development so far.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's built, a lot. He's grown a lot throughout this year, and he's had a lot of tough wins, and I'm excited to see his postseason kick off here in this first match of his postseason.
Now, I will say this. For all that I mentioned about the 5 tech falls in 7 matches, the first meeting between these two, it was not like that. It was a 4-1 decision for McGowan. Both wrestlers with an escape and then the one takedown by the Princeton victor on January 26th. So we might have the same type of thing here, and sometimes that just comes down to the matchup, how Bah's been defensively and how McGowan likes to attack.
Yeah, Bah and McGowan went at it. I was at the match at Columbia when they wrestled the first time this year, and it was a battle. And, McGowan found a way to get a takedown. You're seeing the same kind of back and forth hand fighting and just kind of, feeling each other out in this first period. As you see, it's going to be 0-0 going into the second.
This, of course, happening while the other semifinals are going on simultaneously. I'm twisting my words here. But that's an interesting matchup. Again, 3 NCAA qualifiers, and you have 2 ranked wrestlers in Harvard's Diego Sotelo and Penn's Max Gallagher battling it out there. And so be interesting to see how things go. Is just in the first 5 seconds, McGowan, who began on bottom, gets his escape and leads 1-0.
Yeah, this is going to be a really important, point in the match here. Is anyone going to be able to get a takedown? I think that's going to be the separator. And you see Matt wrestling not a factor at this point. We'll see if it's going to come into play as the match progresses, but a takedown for either guy is huge. As you see a nice dump, and that's going to be potentially even backs, and it's going to be backs, and that's, you got to be fired up if you're the Princeton coaching staff after that, right? 1-0 match, kind of back and forth in the first period. You find a way to go feet to back with a nice dump. That's good stuff.
Well, Princeton wrestling in 2025, 125 might be the best represented weight class with Joe Dubuque as head coach. And, well, Pat, obviously, we've been on the call for the matches here at Jadwin Gym, the national champion, Pat Glory, at 125 and McGowan, hoping to keep that same story going here, leading 8-0 after the 7-point sequence, 3 on the takedown, 4 on the near fall, now in the driver's seat. And again, the advantage of the bye, while you might give up, maybe, okay, the opponent has a momentum coming in a situation like this, one win and you're in if you're McGowan, one win and you're in if you're Max Gallagher for Penn. In any of these cases where you have at least 2 bids, the guys getting 1 and 2 have that advantage to their favor. They just need that first win to make sure they're in.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? Coming into today, you're 0-0. You know, we talk about those upsets. They happen every single year. There's someone that gets upset. It's just a matter of who. And that's what I love about March, and what I love about the postseason is that you're 0-0 coming into each and every tournament. You know, you get there, you're 0-0.
One of those stories that was brought up by Joe Dubuque was when I was asking him about the difference between EIWA 2-day tournament and now this being the 1-day tournament. You go back to 2022, and at 149, a man we saw in one of the bits before we went on the air, Chef Keller, I'll call him, Marshall Keller, 16 seed at 149, the 17 wrestler bracket. Lost to Yanni Diakmahalis after winning the 16v17, and then had to win 4 wrestle-back matches. He wrestled 7 times in 2 days to get there. Now, there are some wrestlers that are going to have to wrestle 4 times today to get their ticket punched to Philadelphia, but it's so interesting to see tactically how the coaching staffs approach it, and then obviously interesting that the wrestlers are just kind of do the same thing as McGowan. I think he got hit up high near the face, and he gets quickly adjusted here.
Yeah, no, it's you know, you want to emulate the national tournament as much as you can, and I think tournaments like these where you're wrestling 3 times in a day, like, it gets you prepared. You have a week off in between to recover and kind of get prepared for these guys that do qualify. But it's a lot of fun. You know, it's just so fun. These are my favorite environments to wrestle in, or they were, I should say.
Well, a lot of these wrestlers, they'll begin the year open competition, then they'll get into duels, and then it's right back in it. But obviously, huger implications today as Marc Anthony McGowan with the pin. A 3rd period fall at 5 minutes 47 seconds as Marc Anthony McGowan's heading to Philadelphia. But up next, a chance to win the first ever Ivy League 125 championship.
And that'll fire you up. Pin your first match in the postseason. National qualifier. Nice dump, feet to back. He just found a way to turn it on, you know, as the second period and the rest of the match progressed. Really good job by McGowan, just wrestling through each position, finding a way to get the fall here. That'll get the coaches fired up.
Sulayman Bah will be knocked into wrestlebacks. He is set to face Brown's Jared Bruner. After suffering the fall, they have wrapped up 125 on mat 2 as well. And so we'll